Since everyone likes to tell people with political differences to just move to another country, do you know how difficult it is to move to another country? Crickets. So in order to move to another country, you need to first have a job offer, or you need to be able to like buy property or something. They kind of give citizenship by property ownership or residency. You either need to have a job, you need to get into a university. And with the job thing, like say you want to move into the European Union, any state within that, they have to prove that no person in the entire European Union can do that particular job. So out of millions of residents, they have to prove that, oh, this one American could do the job and no one else can. Ridiculous, right? So I got into grad school in Europe, and then when that was done, can't stay, bounce back home. So yeah, you can't just move. That's like saying, like, go visit another country. Well, you don't have a passport. Well, like, y'all really need to educate yourselves. Like, you sound so stupid. Like, clearly none of you were traveled, so.
Who wants to tell her? Who wants to tell her? Thank you for making the conservative argument for the conservatives. You don't need to be well traveled to know this. We know this already. We know this. And nose ring theory strikes again. And she has double nose rings, which, Jesus Christ. This is the entire argument the right has been making for years about borders and immigrations, that everyone should follow the law and you can't just waltz into any other country without proper authorization. Well, unless you're a third world migrant, because then in Europe they will just let you come in and give you government subsidized housing, government subsidized healthcare, government subsidized um, uh, food. But if you come from a rich white country, then no, that's not happening. And mind you, when I say government subsidized, I really mean taxpayer subsidized, because the government doesn't generate money. It's all taxpayer money. These people don't even work, and they live on the taxpayer dime. In their own communities, all subsidized by the people who actually work in those countries. But thanks to this idiot, thank you to this idiot for making our argument without even I don't even think she realized that she's making the exact same argument that we're making. Why is it that America seems to be the only country that isn't allowed to have borders or immigration law? Tell me, why is that? Because I guarantee you that this person is the same kind of person who is making this argument, right? Who will tell you we should just let in all these people from the third world because anyone should just be allowed to come into the country. And if you're here illegally, well, you should just be allowed to stay. You shouldn't be able to get deported. We shouldn't enforce our immigration laws. I guarantee you, this person would be out there, or maybe has been out there, protesting ICE while she's making the conservative argument. This is actually insane. These people don't even know what they're talking about. That's the exact same point. It's like I talk about, a lot of you guys, if you watch my content, you know that I'm in Panama. But I'm here legally. I guess I get 6 months in the country without needing, any other authorization besides my passport. Once I leave, the time resets. I've left 3 times within like a span of 7 months, actually. So I've left 3 times in a span of 7 months. And no, twice, I believe twice, not 3 times. But I've left at least twice in a span of 7 months. And then I can come back into the country legally again. Now, if I decide to stay, over the 6 months here in Panama, I run the risk of being caught by immigration and then getting deported. I mean, that's just the harsh reality of it. But you're right. You can't just go to another country if you don't have a job, if you don't have a skill. And this is the argument that we make against the H-1Bs. You think that there are not millions of Americans that can do these jobs that they're giving to people in third worlds just because these companies want to pay these people less money? She's making the conservative argument without even realizing she's making the conservative argument. She made two conservative arguments without realizing she was, at least two. If you guys know of any other ones she made, let me know in the comments. But she made two conservative arguments without even realizing it. The immigration one, which we're saying, yes, countries have borders and countries are allowed to enforce their immigration law, and it's not as easy to immigrate, so we shouldn't just allow people who are geographically tied to us via a border just come in because they can walk across a river. That maybe we should have checks and balances, and maybe we should have background checks on these people. Know who we're bringing in, that maybe we need the people that are actually skilled and not just anyone who's going to come and work in a street corner selling tacos or selling fruit, which is illegal in most places anyways. And this is what they do in their countries. They sell on the street because the government doesn't enforce the laws, because they don't care if people are on the side of the street selling fruit. They don't care about sanitation laws like that. And so they leave their own countries, their own places to come do labor that a regular American can't do because it's illegal. And in turn, they turn the country which they fled to into the country they fled from. And that if we are going to take immigrants, again, this is coming from an immigrant. I immigrated to the United States when I was 10 years old. But even I know the importance of legal immigration, immigration done the right way. You know what's crazy? That most immigrants, people who immigrated legally, I'm not talking about illegal immigrants, are actually pro enforcing immigration law and pro securing the border. It is the Americans who have never left the country. She says, oh, you're not well traveled. It is the Americans who have probably never left the country, the liberals who have never left their liberal cities, their nice little gated communities, who are asking for open borders because they are not personally affected by having an open border and by the negative problems that we can have if we don't check who's coming into the country. We're starting to see things that are not really an American thing. Beheadings. People are getting beheaded in the United States. There was a story a few days ago of an Indian man, I believe, who beheaded another, and I believe they were both illegals, who beheaded another illegal immigrant over some dispute or whatever. That is not a thing that we see in America. We're starting to see gangs take over entire project, entire communities, buildings. I mean, I don't know if that's still going on in Colorado, but this is something that actually happened. A foreign gang came and took over an entire building in the United States. And they were charging the residents rent. That is not a thing that you see in America. We started seeing mopeds on the streets of New York. That is not a thing you see in America. That is closely associated with the third world countries. That is the reality. You don't see it much in Panama here, but besides the delivery drivers, mopeds and stuff. But in Colombia, that is big. In Venezuela, that's big. In Dominican Republic, where I come from, big. And these are people who don't give a fuck about traffic laws. If you come to any one of these countries, I shit you not, you will see how terrible people are on the road. And you think that these people who came in with no papers should just be allowed to drive in our streets? They already have no papers, so they're not allowed to get licenses, but they're driving on our streets anyways. And we should just allow them because Nose Ring here thinks that we should be compassionate, but doesn't understand that she's making the conservative argument. But those are my thoughts on the video, guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. If you like the video, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video. And if you have anything you want me to react to, my email's in the description box below. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.